The Owl's Secret, Part 8. They were alone in the semi-darkness of Sue's cubby. As there was no room to stand without bumping one's head on the rafters, Colleen and Sammy silently arranged the pillows and spread the blanket. Instinctively they helped each other and shared all they had. Neither of them knew what to say, so they just lay there side by side in silence. Their fingers touched under the blanket and they began to hold hands. "I'm sorry, Sammy," said Colleen, as she let go of his hand and turned on her side to face him. He reached out to her, finding her shoulder, then trailed his fingers up to her cheek. The corner of her eye was damp with tears. "Don't be sorry," he said at last, not knowing what else to add. His hand left her cheek and moved down to her waist. As they pulled closer together under the blanket, the pillows shifted and settled again. "I'm glad we're here together," he said. She touched her forehead to his and drew him in closer, thinking of what Sue had told her. This might be the last time they would be together. Having shared so much in so short a time, the thought of separation seemed like the end of the world. She had to tell him something. "Sammy," she whispered to his cheek. "Yes?" There may be a time when I have to go away. I don't want to, not one bit, but we can't control some things in life. There is—" and she struggled to find a way to explain it to him. He looked into her blue eyes and waited patiently, realizing how difficult this was for her. "Sammy, there is some magic that is just too powerful for us to stop. Black magic that comes out of darkness. You are a pure and gentle soul, a knight serving a princess." At last the words flowed out of her heart, and she did reach him. It was after 3 a.m. when Sue returned from her mission. She quietly slid the dresser aside and then opened the tiny door, pushing it up slightly so the hinges wouldn't squeak. What she saw made her smile, then giggle, something she had not done in a great while. Then shake her head and even think of finding a camera. Pushing the door closed, she coughed and stamped her foot. Yawns, stretches, and other amusing sounds could be heard wafting out into the room. "Good morning," said Sue. "First things first, Colleen, no. That's your answer, so stop worrying. And Sammy, you better get going. They better find you in your own bed at the morning bell. I'll give you some time to say your goodbyes, but not too long, okay?" Sue went out into the hall. She paced, tapped her boot on the linoleum floor, and reached for her lighter. But it was just too much for her. There was something she just had to know. So back in she went. It was her room, after all. Colleen stood wrapped in the blanket, and Sammy sat on the edge of her bed, trying to put on his shoes. They were talking, but Sue couldn't hear. She came around to the side and placed her hands on Colleen's cheeks. Leaning in close, she stared. The young girl blushed and pulled away. "Ho, ho, oh, this is good," laughed Sue, sitting on the bed beside Sammy. She slapped him on the back, then looked at her blanket. "Oh, don't worry, I won't tell. But this is so good." "Ha, no, I promise I won't. Hurry back to your room now, Sammy. And Colleen, you better wash that blanket."